Hello there, my name is Anne-Marie DeMaio, and I am the co-author of this project, a group project called Climate Change, along with Natalie Zeck, Brianna Talbot, and Brooke Hughes. What is the controversy of climate change? Well, it's quite a bit. It's a combination of the media, science, and politicians all getting together, and it's under discussion. And it's not only a problem in the U.S., but it's also a problem in the world as well. There's been a debate, and the debate is usually what's going on with the scientists who often specialize in disciplines other than climate change and typically do not research climate issues, where they have been coming up with skewed reports stating that there is no climate change. Debate is often most focused on questions about how to respond rather than the cause. What are the public's beliefs and attitudes towards climate change? Well, according to most politicians are politically biased towards climate change because they like to use that as an issue when they're stumping for votes when they're ready for elections. And basically, there's a lot of political rumblings that back and forth regarding that. Now, Cook et al. Wrote an article about the public's perception in this article, the 97% consensus of global warming, and it's found to be a gateway belief affecting other climate beliefs and attitudes, including policy support. Well, how do we measure climate change? Well, we measure it according to Cristina Nunez in her article. Although we can't look at thermometers going back thousands of years, we do have records to help us figure out what temperatures were like in the distant past. For example, trees store information about the climate in the place they're rooted. So in recent years, what do the experts say? Well, the American Meteorological Society, the American Geophysical Union, and the American Association for the Advancement of Science all state that the concluding evidence for human modification is very compelling for climate change. There's a 97% consensus on global warming. There's been a very amount of studies by 7 authors, and that include Naomi Oreskes, Peter Duran, William Anderegg, Bert Verhagen, Ed Maibach, J. Stewart Carlton, and John Cook. They all co-authored a paper, Consensus on Consensus, and they all settle expert climate consensus question, which is 2 key conclusions. And the consensus on consensus is the paper, and depending upon exactly how you measure the expert consensus, it's somewhere between 90% and 100% that agree humans are responsible for climate change. Also, the greater climate expertise among those surveyed, the higher the consensus on human-caused global warming. Now, is it fact or fiction? How do we conclude whether global warming is fact or fiction? Well, according to NASA's article, in Climate Change Evidence, How Do We Know? The current warming trend is of particular significance because most of it is extremely likely, greater probability of 90% that there's going to be a result of human activity since the mid-20th century and proceeding at a rate that is unprecedented for decades. And the rise of carbon dioxide, human activity, is the #1 cause of the high levels of CO2 in the atmosphere, is greater than 95% probability. Now, if it's left unchanged, then what's going to happen is, what will happen to our Earth? Well, it's going to have increased hurricanes, droughts, and wildfires and temperatures. It's going to be, you're going to see ocean acidification, decrease in healthy ocean life. Droughts and floods will ruin crop supply, and an increased fluctuation will affect animal habitats, and a shortage in crop supply could potentially cause global famine. The facts are 97% of the scientists agree that climate change is a prevalent issue. Over the course of 100 years, the temperature has increased 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and the CO2 emissions have also increased in the atmosphere as well. So globally, what are we doing to solve climate change? Well, this is what we're doing. We're all coming together as countries to stop the climate change crisis, and they're signing agreements. Those agreements are the Paris Agreement, the Kigali Amendment, and also Silva Pasteur is a solution that they're doing as well, as a scientific solution. The Paris Agreement is signed by 196 countries on October 5th, 2016. It's created to prevent greenhouse gas emissions, and they must report emission reduction plans and are required to produce a new plan every 5 years. So in the Kigali Amendment, it seeks to reduce the use of hydrofluorohydrins, which is a coolant, and is expected to prevent 0.5 degrees Celsius of global warming, and the countries are held liable for that as well. So in Silva Pasteur, it helps to eliminate carbon emissions created by cattle, where they plant trees in the pastures where cattle are actually grazing, and also it would be beneficial for new farming techniques as well. So these are the small steps. Each of these small steps will have a significant impact in stopping the crises of climate change. We also have additional information on climate change. We have a couple of videos for YouTube, and also we have works cited, and I conclude. Thank you very much. Should stop it.